All right, we're going to go over section 5.4, which is dividing polynomials. But before we start this, we're going to review division in general, like long division. How do we do that? Well, I'm going to do 5,280, which is the number of feet there are in a mile. I'm going to divide that by 15. So how do we set this up? Well, put 15 on the outside and 5,280 on the inside. I'm going to write down the multiples of 15 over here on the side to help us. 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. So this will help us to do the division here, to remember what to do. Also, we're going to talk about what the different words here mean, or the different numbers mean, what the words are for those. Reviewing some stuff, basic stuff from elementary school. So does 15 divide into 5? No, 15 is not divided into 5, but 15 divides into 52. How many times? 15, 30, 45. Well, if I go 60, that's too big, so 45, right? So I put 45 underneath here, and that's 3 times. 3 times 15 is 45. I'm going to pick up a red pen because my next step is then to divide. So we're going to subtract this off. 52 minus 45 is 7. And we drop down the next place value. So this is like 78 now. So I look at my list here, 15, 30, 45, 60, 75. So 75 would be just enough, 90 is too much. So 75 I write down here. 75, that would be 5 of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 5. 5 times 15, 75. Draw my line. Pick up the red pen, subtract. It gives me 3. Then I bring down the next place value. So 15, 30 goes in there 2 times. 2 times 15 is 30. Pick up the red pen, I subtract, and I get 0 for remainder. Let's talk about the different words here. The answer to a division problem starts with a Q. You guys remember? Quotient. The thing that's doing the dividing is called the divisor. And the thing that got divided is the dividend. And the same words work exactly the same. In dividing polynomials, these words are the same words. The relationship between these, the two outside things multiplied together make the inside thing. The divisor times the quotient should make the dividend. Right, the divisor goes into the dividend and you get the quotient. It makes sense. The dividend is what you divide up, like in stocks and stuff like that. So this is long division. Now we're going to do long division, but we're going to do it with polynomials. So we're going to, it's the same thing, it's place value and all that stuff, but it's with x's instead. So here's example 1. Example 1, divide. So I'm going to have 4x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2x minus 3 divided by x minus 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up like a division problem. X minus 1. And I get 4x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2x minus 3 underneath the division sign there. The steps I'm going to follow are almost identical. So basically what you're doing every time is you're trying to figure out what number works here to kill this number. So really, you know, you're really getting rid of the 7s. The 70s are going away, and then the 30s are going away. And up here, the 40s are going away, even though this doesn't look like a 40. See, this is a 4, and then you'd borrow, so it'd be like 40s are going away, and then 12 minus 5 is 7. So you're trying to get rid of the first term every time. The first number is going away every time. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to make this first number go away every time. And the rest of it just follows along. It works out perfectly. So we need to figure out what up here times the x makes this. Well, I definitely need a 4. So 4 times x would be 4x, but I need a couple more exponents. So x squared. Now I distribute. I didn't really emphasize that here, but I really am distributing. I'm doing 3 times 15 is 45. 5 times 15 is 75. 2 times 15 is 30. So that's my next step, is to multiply. So 4x squared times x is 4x cubed. 4x squared times negative 1 is negative 4x squared. Draw the line across. Now, I pick up the red pen because the red pen means subtraction. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm subtracting the next part. So I'm subtracting this, and then I'm subtracting a subtraction, which actually means I'm going to add. But you see, this first thing here is going away. Just like over here, the 7s are going away, and the 3s are going away, and the 4s are going away. So we want those to cancel out. This is what's left over, x squared. Drop down the 2x. Now I have to get rid of this. It's like chopping the head off of the snake every time. This is the snake. Got to get rid of it. So something times x makes x squared. Well, that's pretty easy. It's going to be just plain old x. X times x is x squared. X times the negative 1 is negative 1x. Draw the line. So I did x times this makes this. X times this makes this. Now, I pick up the red pen. Why am I picking up the red pen? Because I'm going to subtract. So I'm subtracting, and then this one I'm going to add. So this cancels out, and this makes 3. 2 and 1 make 3, so it's 3x. Drop the next thing down. 3. What times x makes 3x? What times x makes 3x? Well, I need a 3. Plus 3. 3 times this is 3x. 3 times this makes negative 3. These are the same things. So when I pick up the red pen and I subtract, this is subtracting, that goes away. Subtracting is really adding, and I get a remainder of 0. So this is my answer right here. All right. Now we're going to move on to another kind of division. Ooh, we're coming out. We're spinning now. Awesome. Okay, that was so last year, but you know, it's fun. Anyway, we're going to do example 2, but we're going to do example 2 by something called synthetic division. So it's fake division. It's man-made division. It's not real, right? Like just like the knockoff purses you'd buy down an alley in New York City, right? Who wants to pay full price for a Coach purse or a Michael Kors purse? You get the knockoff, you get the synthetic, right? Synthetic division. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a regular problem here. X cubed plus 9x squared plus 23x plus 16 divided by x plus 5. Now, instead of subtracting every time, wouldn't it be nice to add every time? Adding's so much easier. So we're going to do that by switching this sign right here and only focusing on this, because basically this just follows through with all the other x's. So we can, synthetic division is kind of weird. We're going to throw this x away and just focus on this number right here and change its sign. So we're going to change the sign, make it negative 5. We're going to turn the division world upside down because it is fake division. All right, we're going to strip away the coefficients. So the coefficients are 1, 9, 23, and 16. So write 1, 9, 23, and 16. Now we're going to follow a procedure called DMAMA. So DMAMA is D-M-A-M-A ... So D stands for drop. We drop the first thing down. Then the next one stands for multiply. Okay, and the next one stands for add. And we keep multiplying and adding until we're done. All right. There, now we're in perfect focus. So we drop, we multiply, we add, we multiply, we add. But we got to change this sign to make this work. Okay, so here we go. 1, 9, 23, 16, 1, 9, 23, 16, change the sign there. We drop the first number down. It's like priming the pump. We multiply these two together. We place the answer there. And then we add, because we just dropped, we multiplied, put the answer here. Now we're adding these two together. So instead of subtracting every time, I'm adding every time, but I achieve that by changing that sign. 4. Multiply. Negative 20. Add these two together. 3. Multiply these two together. Just drop, multiply, add until I'm done. D-mama. Negative 15. I box in the last number because that's my remainder. My remainder is 1. So my last number is the remainder. Okay. The next number is just the number at the end of the polynomial, because polynomials are in order, right? So then this one is x, and then this one is x squared, and the one, if there was a number there, it'd be x cubed. So now I can put the x's back in to get my final answer. So there's 1x squared, or just x squared, 4x, and then 3. And a remainder is a fractional part. It's the part that's left over. So the part that's remaining is plus 1, and then it's what you divided by. We divided by x plus 5. So the remainder is a fraction. It's what you divide. It's what you have left over, and then divided by the binomial right here. So there's my answer for synthetic division. It's actually faster once you get used to it. Synthetic division works really awesome when you're dividing with x. If you're dividing with x squared or 2x squared or something like that, it doesn't work so well. But if it's x here, 1, and x to the first, just plain old x with a number back here, synthetic division is definitely the way to go.